Clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion, and he had a gut feeling that he needed to use that to his advantage. The island was Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis stone? Long hidden in a buried temple, another ancient item that was only resurfacing now? Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals? Ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. And he hadn't come too late. There had to be some way to use the Iblis stone. It was old, wasn't it? People were so much cleverer now. And Reynardo was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people. The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders. was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. It was the stone, eager, thirsty. Kill the Emperor's daughter. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him. Why not capture the core of Sky Ripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. "It's the core," said the stone anxiously. But even though Reynardo knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it. Why was he listening to a talking rock? As he placed the impossibly black crystal in his gauntlet, Reynardo had a sudden vision. Charred fields covered in dead ravens below a black sun. Was it the time of the lost gods before the transcendent Emperor? Was it the future? Please, it whispered. Take the power. He could feel the stone's hunger for souls, its thirst for blood. All right, I get it. This was going to be interesting. The ravens on Zenobia's island were no match for Reynardo. They screamed as the stones sucked out their souls, and with each death, he felt stronger. Take the power, the stone told him. He couldn't do worse with Zenobia than he'd done with the core, could he? Anyone ever tell you have a lovely eye? No? Haven't you always wanted to do that? Finally, Reynardo caught up to her. He had never seen her scared before. At school, she'd been the determined, brave one. Please, no, said Zenobia. Not that way. Oh, they had been so close once. Could he really feed her soul to his demonic gem? But if he spared her, he would not get the full power of the stone. Oh, how could he be the hero he wanted to be? Reynardo hesitated. Reynardo felt a little sick. Ever since Zenobia had taken the stone from him, he'd felt an ache that wouldn't go away. He missed it. He wanted it back. He needed it back. Why hadn't he killed her when he had the chance? She was the enemy. He hadn't even seen her in 14 years. Why had he hesitated? Zenobia thought the stone was evil. Was it? Well, yes, but he still longed to have it back. He'd felt so good killing ravens with it, and yet he'd felt unclean ever since he'd touched it. She confused him. She'd made him want to be a better fox, and then she'd abandoned him, never telling him she was the Emperor's daughter, never contacting him since. Look, who was she to tell him the stone was evil? If he was a weapons engineer, Reynardo would make the cannonballs go much faster. And fire randomly, obviously. Probably it, right? The scientist's toes were pointing arcane instruments at the stone and looking at it through prisms and reflections. Mine, said then. A far speaker toad crowed in something like Zenobia's voice.
Reynardo, leave the stone with the toads. It will swallow your soul. You'll kill everyone you love.
That did seem vaguely familiar, but Reynardo had an army to lead, an empire to bring down. Whispered the stone. It was right. Ah, the ruins. Reynardo had come there as a kid when it was still the fabulous city of Ubar, before the Emperor's ravens had come to pillage ancient books from its library and destroyed it. Now the rebel council lay hidden underneath the ruins. And between here and there, all these ravens to kill. They deserved it for what they'd done to the city. And the faster he could kill them, the more of a rush they gave him. He tried to be nice to Zenobia, not killing her and all. And what did she do? She stole the gem from him, made him kill all those scientists. Next time she will see. whispered the stone. Ravens? Reynardo knew how the stone felt. Each raven he killed gave him a little jolt of pleasure. But he could only kill them so fast, and the pleasure wore off too quickly. Hopefully soon he would face a more powerful adversary. Yes, whispered the stone. The more power your enemies, the more power I give you. I will make you emperor. But not with a bunch of mangy ravens. Bye-bye, life, he thought. Hello, emptiness. The long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. He was on fire. So far, so good. As he reached the secret entrance, he was shocked to see Zenobia talking with the council. She bore a white flag. The council has betrayed you, whispered the stone. Kill them. What are you doing here, love? Reynardo demanded. Come for the brown muffins?
He's worried about you,
Croaked the council speaker.
we all are.
You're not yourself, Zenobia said. Before they could get into the rest of the intervention, he leapt at her. Unfortunately, the council speaker blocked him, so he slew her and the other council members. I'm not giving up, cried Zenobia as she darted off into the ruins. I think I just killed the entire rebel council, said Reynardo.
See how much power they've given you.
But they were on my side, weren't they?
No one is on your side, except for me.
He set sail for the fleet. There, at least, there would be enemies to kill. Unless that was the Iblastone talking. He could never be sure. Anyway, who needed other rebels here? They'd only get in the way. A true hero fights alone after he's got all his friends killed. Reynardo had a feeling that was the back door to something. But what? The world was so beautiful. Everything was glowing, breathing, alive. Except, okay, the ravens he'd killed. but the wind was alive, like a million somewhere down the path.
About ravens was they never dropped any loot, and no one ever wanted the feathers.
At last, he was face to face with Zenobia. She was still unarmed. No fire crackled from her claws.
Excellent. Kill her.
Whispered the stone. He raised his sword for the killing blow. "Is this what you really want?" she asked. "Or is it what the stone wants?"
Think of the power.
Insisted the stone. "I don't want to kill you," he told Zenobia, his arm still raised. "I know. But he could not put the sword down. It wants blood," he told her. "I know. Oh, help me," he said. "She stabbed herself." "Take my blood," she said.
No, you mustn't.
Cried the Iblis stone. "Oh no! Why did you..." He ran to embrace her, and she plunged her bloody dagger into his heart. "Why?" he said. "We'll be together in the halls of the valiant," she said. "I love you," he said. "Thank you." And the Iblis stone screamed, and then it began to glow. It burst into flames. It burned like an ember. And then it was ash that blew away in the wind. And Zenobia and Reynardo died in each other's arms. Oh, again? But he already had all the secrets he needed. He was sure of that. He must have not used them the right way. What was the best, worst mistake he could make? Probably trusting that traitor Lapino.